Hi, my name is Nick Malinosky with the Exclusive Mindset Podcast, and today we are here with Marc-Michaels Interior Design. We are very excited. We are going to cover everything from
design degrees absolutely matter.
When should they expect to make, we'll call it decent money?
Starting off, it's not comfortable. The relationship that you build with your client is a major backbone of how successful the project's going to be.
There is a big difference between how we purchase and smaller firms purchase. Marc-Michaels Interior Design is known for how they create their backgrounds along with all of their furnishings.
Marc-Michaels is known for high-end luxury design.
Today we have Mark Tremblay and Shannon Callahan, and we are super excited to have you guys here. Marc-Michaels is a design firm that I have been around for, I would say, the last 20 years, believe it or not. They are the best in class. They run an amazing operation, and they work on some of the most unbelievable residences and projects really in the country and beyond. So we're super excited. Today we want to dive in a little bit, learn a little bit about their business, what it takes to run a major design firm, and sort of how the operation works. So I think it's going to be very insightful, and we are pumped to have them, and we're going to get right into it. So Mark, we'll start with you. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks for having us.
All right. We're digging right in today. So
okay.
we're not going to waste any time. So,
okay, good.
So let's just start off real quick. Where are you from? How'd you get into this business? What light bulb went off of you saying, I'm going to get into the design business? How did that start?
Well, I'm originally from upstate New York, from a small town, country boy. Moved to Florida in '85, went to school, and my background is actually marketing. So when I first graduated from college, I got an internship with Arnold Palmer Golf Management Company, and I stayed there probably about 2.5 years. And then this job opening had opened up, and you know, I applied and I kind of laughed because I was like, what am I going to do? Like, this is a strange industry, but I've always liked design. I liked fashion. So I got the job and I was amazed. We were probably a staff of maybe 15 at the time. This is 32 years ago. We were just starting to do a lot more work in South Florida, and then we just kind of blew up. So as that process went along, my role kind of evolved. I started as a director of marketing and then kind of worked my way up. And, again, design was a passion of mine, and I didn't know how much of a passion, but it is definitely still a passion of mine. And I have grown leaps and bounds from when I started. So it's been a good journey.
Wow, that's amazing. So you really sort of started from not only nothing, just no clue what
Zero.
Yeah.
My parents were like, why are you doing this job? Like, you just go out and buy a sofa. Who do you need somebody to tell you what sofa to buy?
Wow.
Completely different mindset.
That's awesome. I didn't realize it sort of came from sort of you just jumping out there.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So Shannon, how about yourself? So where are you from and what got you into this business?
I grew up in Orlando, and I went to school, started off in psychology and then ended up in fashion design and then into interior design. I went to grad school for product development. And whenever I would come home from college, my mom and I would always go to Winter Park and go to Park Avenue, and we would drive by this most amazing building, Marc-Michaels Interior Design. And I said, I'm going to work there one day. And so after I graduated from grad school, I came home and started applying for jobs. And after a few interviews, I got hired as a design associate, and I've worked my way up to director of design.
That's amazing. That's awesome. All right, here's a quick rapid fire, 1 sentence or less. Go-to color you can't live without.
Green.
Whites.
Minimalism or maximalism?
Minimalism.
Neither.
Most underrated design element?
Simplicity.
Scale.
One piece everyone should have?
Comfortable sofa.
I think something that talks to the client themselves.
Wallpaper or paint?
Wallpaper.
Wallpaper.
Vintage find or brand new piece?
Vintage.
Vintage.
Design rule you love to break?
Less is more.
Color.
First thing you notice when you walk into a home?
The lighting.
Sight lines.
What role do you actually play technically from a technical perspective?
So I do carry my own projects. So project managing from start to finish, different projects here in South Florida. I also run the Boca office. My team is here in Boca Raton. And then I also, behind the scenes, I work with the exec team with protocol, employee development, and design direction of the firm.
Wow. So that's multifaceted for sure. Kind of a question for you both. How would you explain sort of the Marc-Michaels style or signature style? What are you all really known for, and what do you specialize in?
I think we are known for our sense of warmth that we create, no matter if it's very contemporary or very traditional. There is that common thread of warmth throughout the space. So we typically, our interiors are, I think they're stylized, but they're not so stylized that they're not livable. Like, I think the days of having these formal living spaces that are so tuxedo ready that nobody ever goes into, we really don't create those types of environments. It's well addressed, but it's also very relaxing and comfortable. Our philosophy is we want you to use every space in the house. So in doing so, we don't want to dial it up too much, and we don't want to understate it too much.
So do you all go into the operation from, maybe a builder perspective or a developer perspective or perspective, or the end user? Do you operate start to finish? So will you start sort of before the plans are even finalized?
It just depends. I mean, every client's different. I mean, there's so many times we are the last person ever thought of, and then there's sometimes we're the first person thought of. So we either have to play catch up and try to make it the best it can be for all the things that it's already established in place, to we get to be more creative on the upfront and actually make sure the client's going down the right path with the architect, with the builder.
How many locations, office-wise, do you have?
We have 2 offices. Yeah. We have the corporates in Orlando, Florida, and then the Boca office.
And then roughly how many employees in, basically,
we have about typically around 60. So I don't want to make that sound like a scary number, because we actually, when we are assigning projects to clients, I mean, it's a very individualized experience. So you're getting kind of a boutique design development person in the office, but you're also getting the multitude of talent and industry related knowledge with a bigger group, because everybody sees something different. Everybody has a different viewpoint, whatever. And there's a lot of collective design that happens on every project. So you're not just getting one person. I think sometimes just having one person is not good, because you're not getting that experience of other involvement of design talent, and which we have like years and years and years of design talent with all of our staff. I mean, she's amazing, and again, her team, they all collaborate. It makes us different.
I think that's what makes us successful, though, as a large firm, is that we're able to take on the larger projects, because we do have our interior detailing department. We have accounting, we have accounts receivable, accounts payable. We are a full scale operation from start to finish, which I think which is unique about us too. Our interior detailing department, being able to like work hand in hand with the architects and go from there into.
And then we run the jobs like a commercial project, because our jobs are big. You're dealing with 10,000 to 40,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
You really have to be super organized, because there's too many players involved.
I get this question asked all the time, and I usually, I'm sad to say, don't quite know how to answer it. So we'll get clients and say, what should I expect to pay? Or, when I want to hire a really high-end designer for my new purchase, whether it's an oceanfront property, a waterfront, or a Wellington estate, is there an industry standard? I'm asking sort of for my clients and as well as myself. Is there anything to go by in your business?
I mean,
generally speaking.
Gosh, every firm's different. I know what we do. I know what it takes to actually create the environments that we create. But, a smaller firm can do something for a smaller amount. I think the key is understanding the buying power of a design firm, because that is completely different for every firm, because you actually have to have buy-ins to certain vendors. So, and those buy-ins are hefty. We buy like big box stores. So you've got to spend $100,000 with them a year to get your volume discounts. So it makes a big difference. Furniture is key, and we buy extremely well.
Yeah. this is, I would say, so for Shannon, so how do you balance luxury with livability, making the home beautiful? And I know Mark mentioned it a little bit, but also comfortable. So I feel like a lot of these clients, depending on where they're coming from, aren't really sure about that mixture. And sometimes it's like way too stark, and it's just,
a lot of our clients have seen everything and they've experienced everything. We are not the first interior designer that they're hiring. So it's really important to, first, you have to get to know them. You have to know what matters to them. How do they live their life? What's their family like? And then you really focus on those main spaces where they're living, in their family room, in their bedrooms. And it's about, everything from what they're looking at visually as far as the details down to the fabrics that they're going to be sitting in, the rugs they're going to be walking in, and just making those absolutely comfortable, luxurious, good quality. Our clients know quality and they know bad quality too. So it's important for us to deliver that to them.
So when working with your clients, is it sort of a give and take? Is it a battle? Do they understand, or do they typically take direction of saying,
if someone's hiring us, they're hiring us for a reason.
Yeah.
And most of our clients are very trusting. And those are the most successful projects that end up being the most beautiful and that they get the most out of, is when they're trusting with us because we know what we're doing.
So in my business, it never ends. And I feel like every time I go on vacation or anytime it's downtime, one of my clients wants to talk real estate, and it's just the way it is. It's been that way for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I even know, working with you guys, my wife and I will be overseas and see something, and, we're texting you guys just because, not that we want to bother you, but it's on our mind.
But that's what makes it your house.
Yes.
Because it's your personal experience relaying it into your home. So I love that. I love it when clients come to the table with, oh, I did this trip to Africa and I, brought this, and can we display these on the wall? And, sometimes it can get out of hand when some people are just never satisfied and they're always seeking for something new. But that's also our job, is to reel them in and say, okay, we understand that, we respect that, but let's stay focused and let's complete this. And then, maybe you can introduce something in a smaller scale rather than changing the room around. Maybe you can accent something somewhere else.
So working with multiple clients at once, does your job ever really end? How do you...
No, in my brain, it never ends.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, you're so immersed in it. And I've been doing this for so long that, you start to really care about your clients and you care about your projects. And it's a reflection on me. It's a reflection on Marc-Michaels is are you remembering everything you're needing to do? And it's, I have 3 kids. So there are certain times that they need me, and nope, my brain is shut off from work, but early in the morning and I'm going through my work to-do list and I'm back at it.
So how do you balance that with kids? We talk a lot about on this podcast of how to manage. Do you have a workout routine? What do you do to figure this out?
No, I wish I did. And I wouldn't call it balance. I just call it juggling.
Okay.
When I'm in the office and my kids are at school, I can be fully focused. On some days, 3:00 hits, I got to leave to go pick up my daughter from school. And I'm in the car on the way there to pick her up, and I'm finishing a conversation I was having with one of my associates as I was walking out the door. It's just, there's not a stop and start. There's just a blending.
And I think it's good to know. Yeah, it's good to know for somebody getting into the business as well. Mark, this question's for you. So in my business, typically I'm involved with a client from anywhere from, maybe the prep, call it 3 months to a year, maybe a year and a half, depending on the property. Every client's not a good fit. And when you're sort of accepting this agreement to really work for that client and sort of, become partners with that client, how do you know, or what do you do if you're simply not a good fit? I feel like my job is a little bit easier, but you on the interior space and the decisions, what do you do if the client's not a good fit? And how do you know if the client's not a good fit?
I'm a pretty good judge of character. So when I'm meeting with a client at first, it's kind of like first date. Everyone's on their best behavior. If you see any red flags on the first date, you're like, maybe we should not go this route. Yeah. So I think most times, I'd have to say probably 90% of the people that I meet with up front, they become a client. They're great. It's a great experience. 10%, some manage to work their way in and they're on their best behavior, but then they fall apart as soon as they get in.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen that often. It really doesn't. I think I'm pretty good at weeding out what works for us. And I also understand too, we're not for everybody and every job is not for us. I mean, if I don't think I'm going to be successful at doing this job,
They're not going to be happy either.
they're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's better off not to take it because something else is going to come and it's going to be the right fit.
And I think it's well said. Even in my business, you have to want to call that client back and be excited to talk about their property and whatever you're doing. And if you lose that, it just becomes a job, which obviously it slows everything down. So.
Yeah, and it's for us, it's a passion. I mean, I love design. Shannon loves design. All of our seniors, I mean, most of our staff, they all love design. You have to love it. It is a crazy industry and it's ever evolving. I mean, you have to stay current. You have to go looking for new things because everything is different. I mean, years ago, we were in Mediterranean world. Everything was traditional, heavy, dark, all of that. And now it's completely the opposite. But it's now changing back to being a little bit more warmer and traditional. So again, it's time change, people get tired of the same thing. And so they want something new. And we constantly have to be looking for the next best thing.
I have a question for you then, sort of a follow-up with it. So when designing for high-profile clients, do you ever reflect their public persona or focus purely on their private lifestyle? Meaning, let's say they're their lead guitarist. Is the house going to be full of guitars and drums? Which we've seen before. But
it's
what's
client,
your take?
It's client driven, but a lot of it is their home is their home. It's their sanctuary. It's not in the public eye. They want a retreat that is warm and exciting and feels great with everybody in the house.
Oftentimes it's just one room.
Yeah.
Right? It's one room of memorabilia. It's, in the basement, they got all their whatever it is displayed.
Yeah. So the next question is, so when we were at Disney with the kids, I was staying at this very nice hotel and I started sort of Zillow-ing nearby homes. And they were like 8-10 million plus. And then I did some more diving and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, all right, we're at Disney. What's going on here? And then I started looking at some of the interior pictures and I saw the most elaborate, like Mickey Mouse rooms that I've ever seen in my life. Is that a thing? What's going on there?
Absolutely a thing. So the Four Seasons has a whole development around them that one section is part of the concierge services of the hotel. So that there are single family, multi-million dollar houses. These are people that love Disney. They go there, they take their family. When they're there, it is a Disney experience. So saying that, they also want to incorporate Disney-esque items in their house. And so we do. I mean, we have not done too many super theatrical experiences in our homes, but there are homes there that are the Tower of Terror, they're, the playrooms from Aladdin, I mean, like
the Beast House.
Yeah, they really get into it, but ours is like, it's kind of tastefully done in a sense that there's Mickeys and kind of those things within the house, but they're not glaring at you. But yeah, it's amazing. It's probably one of the more unique experiences I think that we have for a client, that they actually, everybody loves Disney and they want that experience and they want their house to be a little bit more playful, I guess.
Wow. So what can someone spend on one of those rooms? I mean, does it get pretty pricey? Depending on what they're doing?
Depending on what they're doing. But I mean, some of those homes are very themed out. I mean, like one section is this, one section is this, and it's all Disney related.
Wow.
Which is, yeah.
Just curious, where are most of those clients that you're working with come from? Are they international or are they local?
All over the place. US and Europe and South America. I mean, everywhere.
Amazing. Speaking of that, where do you, and maybe for Shannon, where do you find yourself working the most? I know you have a huge presence in South Florida, but I also saw Colorado, Utah. Where else do you all work?
Everywhere. I mean, New York, We've done work in Switzerland,
Overseas in China,
Canada,
Thailand.
Yeah,
I've done houses in Vermont. I've done houses in North
Moscow.
Carolina. Yeah. I mean, all different styles, all different
All- yeah.
areas. A lot of them are second homes, right?
Yeah.
A lot of our clients will have their main home here or up north. This will be their, their winter home, but a lot of them are second homes.
And are many of those referrals from clients you've already had, as you mentioned, second homes? They say, okay, we just bought a place here. I mean, we're doing the same
I think
thing.
nowadays too with social media. I think we're getting a lot of traction from there.
Yeah, people find us online and they're like, "We love what you do."
We do have a lot of repeat clients though.
Yeah.
That's a main part of our business is repeat, which is great because once you have a client and you know what they're like, it's so easy to do it the second time around versus the first time.
Yeah.
But
For everybody.
that is how we actually kind of go to other places because we did their house in Florida. We're going to do their house in Kentucky,
Yep.
So, and our clients, maybe it's a 5 to 7 year window that they keep their properties and then they're off to something else. So it's a good business to be in because they're constantly changing.
Yeah. So my former business partner, it seems like every 5 or 6 years, even though his house was absolutely beautiful, everything would be coming out, wallpaper, everything else. Is there a time frame that you guys have seen over the years in which people redesign and just redo everything in their home?
It's actually, they don't redesign, they actually buy a new property. That is mostly what happens.
Okay.
Or decide to buy a new property, build a new house.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in today's market? So for many years, it was like the wine room, the theater room. I don't want to call them trends, but like what new lifestyle are you seeing?
I would say wellness. I would say home spas. We're doing, full scale salt floats, cold plunges, massage rooms, steam showers. A lot of our clients travel and, they're staying in Switzerland and staying in one of the most upscale hotels with the most fabulous spa. And they're coming home with all of those ideas and trying to replicate them and work them into their homes.
So you would say fitness is up there with the top?
Fitness is, and I think COVID's changed a lot of mindsets. So I think, again, at this point of their wealth, if they're stuck at home again, they want to make sure they have the amenities that they want and need to have are there in the house. So private chefs are a big deal. Refrigeration's a big deal. Creating bowling alleys, again, just experiences within the home so they don't have to go outside.
Yeah, that in my business, of course, has been huge with, after COVID, now Florida's become a full-time destination. So they need the guest house, they need, the services. So what are some of the over-the-top things you've been doing recently? And I know we've done a couple crazy ones with you in Manalapan, which was the garage, the shooting range. But what's some fun things you're doing?
Bowling alley, but shooting ranges are
Shooting range.
that is to me surprising, but we get more of those now than we've ever had in the past. But
full catering kitchens, the walk-in commercial size refrigerators,
club rooms with a big media experience that it's all open.
golf simulators.
Golf simulator, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's really just bringing that whole lifestyle into the home.
Correct.
Yeah. And the garages are obviously, from my perspective, they've become like one of the number one punch list items. Once you get into that luxury market,
garages.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing
where they're seen from the interior. We've done a lot of projects where you
showcase it. Yeah. Showcase what you have in the garage.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like a 20-car garage. It's not like 2 or 3.
By the way, so I mean, obviously this is what you all do, but how do you, who's the bowling alley person that does something like do you have to do a lot of research when certainly someone's doing something that's sort of
a lot? The builder can do a lot of that when it's something that specific because they're building it.
Yeah.
But aesthetically,
we're designing. We're thinking about what acoustical materials are we putting on the ceiling and how are we making that not look commercial, right? How are you incorporating that with acoustical wallpapers or different elements that...
Yeah, Shannon, I think that goes back to what you're sort of saying. Like, how do you make a bowling alley look like it is warm and should be in a...
Like it's residential?
Totally.
Yeah. The products out there right now, I mean, just the acoustical products that look exactly like wood. Lighting, materials, everything. You're taking residential interior products and you're designing the space with them.
So pivoting a little bit. So how, you're both working so hard. We all know what it's like. It's running 7 days a week. How do you both essentially stay inspired to just keep doing this as a designer, working with high profile clients? Like, do you go to, are there shows? Like, how do you keep it going?
There are a lot of shows. I mean, again, you have to be passionate about design, and you love looking at architecture. You love looking at new sofas. I mean, everything. Like, I travel to Paris. I go to the Maisons Object every year. It's amazing. There's always something new and different, and that's what we go out and look for. It's like we want to find the next best thing and something unique, so that our clients, they see other clients' houses and they don't want to see the same thing that they have in their house, So there's a little bit of competition in that sense. So we're constantly traveling. She travels. We go to New York.
We've done California trips before.
It's just going to
It's just getting out of your element.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessarily going to the markets, but it's just traveling yourself and just kind of getting out of South Florida.
I mean, I just was in Thailand and I just saw some unique things. It's like architecture. I mean, again, you have to know how to, okay, that's very Thai specific, but there is a different way to do it for us here.
Yeah.
But so it's just those inspirations that really kind of keep us moving forward.
So what would you say sort of a timeless design principle or feature of your firm is? And it kind of goes back to what you specialize in, but what is that sort of one thing? You do many things, but what's that one thing you always make sure you dial in?
The one thing I think is super important is scalability. So we do homes that are super large. Sounds easy, it'll just take a lot of furniture. Well, you can put a ton of furniture in, but if it's not scaled in right, height of the furniture, width, depth, all of those things are super important depending on the size of the room. So again, for a layman to go out and buy a sofa off a showroom floor, it looks great in the showroom. You bring it home, you're like, oh my God, this is like Barbie's sofa in here. And it's true. You got to know how to scale that piece of furniture in the room.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in the past. So I can't tell you how many times I've had clients say, they buy this brand new, beautiful, large home, and you say, okay, well, what are you doing next? Like, how are you going to furnish it? What design firm are you working with? And there are times where they're alluding to the fact that they're going to give it a shot themselves. And I kind of, okay, what experience do you have?
I have a client that just did that. So we did their house, which was probably 20 years ago. I don't know, it's 22,000 square feet, whatever. And anyways, built a new house. They furnished it themselves, and here we are redoing the whole thing.
Are they friendly about it? Or
oh yeah, they're like, well, we just wanted to get it done.
Yeah.
We need to get in here, but we don't like anything we did.
Well, I think the complexity of what actually goes into it. I mean, even with our house, which is a small house, like the fabrics, the pillow, like it's just, there's a million different moving parts.
There's a million decisions to be made.
And it's super hard. There's like everything has options. I mean, a light switch has options. An outlet has options now. I mean, it's just like when you deal with all of those options, it's a ton, and it can drive the price way up. It's like you have to think about, how much money the client really wants to spend and what's important, what's not important.
Yeah, good point. I also think there's a misconception of, oh, I can do it so much cheaper. Like the idea of having some sort of value by doing it yourself. Oftentimes I see it cost them, twice as much, just because, like you said, that couch isn't right, the fan's not right.
They end up redoing things and cost you.
You got to send the 3 fans back. Now you're,
it's also not
hard.
Everything. If you have a large home, you just can't buy the correct chandelier off the regular retail market. It's just not available. A lot of the things we do are customized to fit these large homes
because we have to make them bigger. These rooms are huge.
Yeah. So. Business and mentorship. I want to talk a little bit about actually, we know what you do design wise, but how do you run a business? Like this is, I don't think anyone out there thinks about when they're hiring a designer, the back end of what actually has to go into it. So the first question is, what have been the biggest lessons in scaling Marc-Michaels as a business?
I would say hiring well. Being very particular about entry level.
And our success is the training that we do. So we do not hire a full-fledged designer from another firm. We'd never do it. It never works. We've done it a few times in the past. They bring in their bad habits and the way, and we do what we do, and everybody wants that approach. So the best success for us is, like Shannon started. She was an assistant.
I was an assistant.
And she worked her way up. And it's like knowing how to enter into the computer and how to scale things in and how to deal with a drapery person. I mean, all of those things take time. It's like you can't come from college and like, oh, I've got it covered. I know how to do it. Yeah. You don't. There's too many things to learn.
Yeah, I see that in my business as well, where somebody wants to sort of come over to our team that has certain habits. I mean, it's not that, maybe they're right for them, but it's always good to be able to sort of grow as a team.
And it's also the financial side. I'm like, you can be the best designer in the entire world, but if you do not know how to bill and how to
run a budget,
who cares? Because you'll never get another job.
Yeah. So elaborate really quick on that. You just mentioned it, but what's the reality of the behind the scenes for you and your team? So what does it mean to run a luxury high-end rock star design firm?
It takes a lot of manpower.
So, like, who do you need behind the scenes? Who are the players? Like, you have accountants,
accounting. I mean, we have
accounts receivable team. We have an accounts payable team. Each team has a lot of them have a design associate who is doing the pricing of the products. We're entering it into a system. We're presenting it to the client. The way that we present to clients now is so much more digitally driven than it was 20 years ago. So that is very time consuming. It's a lot of design is as much being creative as it is being technical.
Yeah. And what happens when something just doesn't show up? I mean, you're also dealing with, shipping.
No, and I think people are more understanding. I mean, I think we have it down more to a science too that really helps curtail a lot of those missteps. But we
have an expediting team.
Yeah, it
is only their job to place the orders, track the orders, alert the design team when things are arriving too late.
Mm-hmm. It's a full operation.
It's full operation. Not easy.
Is it? So just to ask a quick question here, what is your opinion on, so if you're a very small design group, does it become more difficult just because you don't have that scale and all that support behind you?
Oh, definitely. If you're a 2-person firm, 3-person firm, you are dealing with all of those issues. So you're collecting money, you're talking to vendors, you're talking to shipping agents. I mean, and
clients on top of it.
And clients on top.
Yeah.
The coordination, I mean, design is maybe 5% of the job, truly. The rest of it is getting it to the job.
Yeah.
And it's coordination, and it's a ton of phone calls.
As far as your sort of business model goes, how many clients what's your comfort zone individually for how many clients you're representing at once? I know you often work as a team, but like for me, it's like 20 listings. That's kind of my, sweet spot. Once you get more, you start running low on time. Do you have a certain number of clients or projects that's your sweet spot to be working on individually at once?
I think it depends. We have different teams within Marc-Michaels. Some are smaller, some are larger. Yep. So the larger teams can take on more work. Also, the projects vary. You can have a huge project that's going to take over your whole summer because you're working on the furniture and lighting proposals. And then you can have projects that are dormant at that time. So, I mean, anywhere from on the low end, like
I would say like
7, and then high end, like
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they're all in different, they're not all starting.
You've got to get the, got to get the wave of
that sounds like, we've got 3 with you now. So
yeah.
Shannon, question for you. Mm-hmm. There's the person or, the person in college, maybe they're just graduating, maybe they've graduated. What advice do you give to that person like Mark was at one time trying to get into this business? This seems like a very intimidating and difficult business to get into. What advice would you give that younger person?
I would say get your foot in the door however you can, whether it's an internship, whether it's showing up to design show house openings, just immerse yourself in the industry as best you can. And you really got to decide, what avenue of design you want to get into. If you want to be, considered for a company like Marc-Michaels, you have to understand that you're going to have to put that effort and that training in.
Mm-hmm. What are some ways that young person can get their foot in the door? You mentioned like going to some of the shows or something. Like give me three good ways.
I would say internships. Internships is the best thing because that is the one way that we're going to get to know you, or that any designer is going to get to know you. You can meet someone, at an opening party, and I had a great conversation with this person. A lot of it is first impression, but being able to work with someone day in and day out. I mean, there's been interns that have been so great that we've tried to create a position for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a really great way for people to get to know you.
How long do those internships usually last?
Usually a summer, typically, or a semester.
Yeah. And you're basically getting them involved from every aspect possible.
Yeah, as much as, some of it is, helping us organize fabrics and doing fabric pages for clients. But it's about exposure. It's about, hearing the terminology and understand what we're talking about.
Does having a background in architecture or design or anything like that, maybe in college or classes, help?
I would say so. I would say most successful, you need to have a design degree.
Especially for a firm like us. So we are heavily involved in the backgrounds of a house. So typically, again, no matter what phase of the job that we get into, when we're first introduced, but we're looking at, the flow of the house, the door swings, the fireplace elevation, the built-ins in the media room. All of those things are highly important to us, and we are designing those elements. So I think we create the most impressive set of documents, I think, that's out there for a builder to actually deliver those components.
What's the reality of being successful in your business? In my business, it's, 10%, probably less, do the majority of all real estate sales. And then the high-end sales, the number is just so small, it's unbelievable. And when you really look at Florida in general, or, the country, there aren't that many design firms as successful as you have been. So, what percentage or what's the likelihood of that sort of young designer making it to the top, and how hard do they need to work to get there?
I don't know if it's like a super hard task to be part of our firm. I think a lot of it is creativity, it's passion, it's desire. We are spoiled. We do get probably the upper 20% of projects that are highly sought after and higher price points for sure. And most firms don't even get they may get a job like that once in their lifetime. We get them every day.
So I think because of that, if you're trying to get into the industry, you have to consider, like, what game do you want to compete in, right? Like Marc-Michaels is the Olympics. Mm-hmm. You got to train for the Olympics.
Yeah,
you've got to put in the extra work. You have to stay late if necessary. The higher up you go in your career, your client's calling at you 6:30 on a Friday. You got to take that call because you have to keep them happy, and they're probably having a meltdown. It's going to be a lot easier to take them out of that at Friday afternoon than it is on Monday morning.
And I'd rather them call me. Like, again, it's Saturday or Sunday. Again, they're respectful. If there's a quick question, they'll do it. If there's a problem, addressing it then waiting and ignoring it till the following week, it only gets worse.
Yes, it does. What does a young designer, what should they expect to make? When should they expect to make, we'll call it, decent money?
Starting off, it's not comfortable.
Real estate zero, but
zero, right?
So,
I mean,
it's very not comfortable.
You're coming to the table with little to nothing, and you've got to prove yourself. I think, the more you invest in it, the quicker you go up. You start as a design assistant, a designer. Each level comes, more compensation.
So it's safe to say that a young designer should have some supplemental income when they start. Is that a fair? I mean, are they making enough to survive?
It depends on how you want to live. I think it really depends on how you want to live. A lot of people.
How did you do it?
Roommates. I was lucky when I started off at Marc-Michaels. I lived with my mom. I came back from college and lived with my mom, but very shortly after, I moved in with some friends. We got a house, and then I, moved up in life. But it's a struggle in the beginning, but you got to pick and choose. Do you need the gym membership? Do you need to get your nails done every week? It's what's important to you. Hey, what are you going to fight for?
I lived with my grandmother starting out. Yeah. I get it. I mean, that's a great story. I mean,
But I also think too, a lot of the younger people that have come from college, their parents are still supporting, they're helping them with their life and all of that because they don't want them to have a second job. They want them to focus on their career.
There's no better time to struggle than when you're young. I can tell you that, because when you get older, it's not fun.
No, but it also, I think, makes you the person that you are today. Like, I remember being young and I was in college. I worked full time too, doing this, and I was like, God, I want to go on a vacation, but I can't. I don't have any money, and I didn't charge. My dad was always in the back of my head. If you can't afford it, you don't do it. And so I didn't do it, So sure, did I miss out on something? Sure. But, you paved the way to your future.
Totally. Yeah. What would you say the biggest lesson, and we're getting ready to wrap up here. So what is the biggest lesson you would say from running the firm in both your positions, that other businesses can use, that I can use, that other operating businesses, not necessarily in design, can use in their business? What's your number one advice you would give?
Communication, verbal communication. I think today, whenever you talk to anybody in the office, they're like, oh, I texted them.
So much easier.
You got to understand how serious the situation is. A text can be fine, sure. But to understand someone's viewpoint, you got to talk to them. And talking is key. I mean, that's number one, just talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think from a business aspect internally at Marc-Michaels, a really good thing that we have done is when there are these unique people that come in with a specific talent, whether it be with protocol or with organizational skills, as that you allow them to grow in that position. And maybe that's a position that no one else in the company can handle. But when you see that internal talent and it's going to help organize the company better, that you promote that.
That's a great point. So let them shine in their lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we
awesome.
have some really amazing employees over the past, I would say, 5 to 10 years. Such unique talent that has really helped develop the business.
And we've also made those mistakes. Like we thought, hey, they're so good here, we're going to put them there. And then that never becomes successful.
Yeah.
So you to Shannon's point, if they're shining in their lane, keep them in their lane and make it better.
Yeah. Help them grow within what they're great at.
Yeah.
All right. Final question for each of you. What do you absolutely love about your business, especially for someone aspiring to enter the design world? Why should they stay focused? Why should they keep pushing? Why should they sort of get through all these challenges? What do you individually both love about this business that keeps you going?
I love that it's ever changing. What I was doing 20 years ago is not what I'm doing now. I love the aspect of working with those clients who are so appreciative that you are creating this world that they're going to live in. And it's better than they thought it was going to be. And they, you're creating that for them. And I think that's a unique industry to be in, that you're leaving with them with something that is timeless and then they're going to appreciate forever.
I agree. I mean, I think going, when a client first sees their house done for the first time could not be more rewarding. I mean, they never imagine, half the time they forget everything that they have already purchased. And they're like, oh my God, did we buy that? Yeah, it's like, yeah, we showed it to you. But they're just amazed how it all comes together at the end. And some clients question a lot of things along the journey. And then they realize, oh, they do know what they're doing.
I'm so glad I listened to you.
Yeah, but because there is sometimes, things out of their element may be a little bit more alarming. But once it's all together, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both very much. This was awesome. You guys are rock stars. Where can people find you? I know you have the website.
Yes,
Okay.
Marc-Michaels Interior Design.com.
And then your Instagram. All you need to find out about you guys is on your Instagram. You've got all your homes there, your projects. So I think this was awesome. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Nick.
You're rock stars. All right.
Great too.
Let's go
Thanks.
work on another project.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.